Welcome, Battle Brothers. I am the Epic Narrator, and today we're going to be going back in time. I'm going to be painting an RT-01 Space Marine in the authentic 80s style with authentic 80s paints. So I'm going to be closely following the Space Marines painting guide for this one. So firstly, I sprayed them black and then white. These models are very old. I just wanted to give them a very good base coat before we start. And if I'm lucky, you never know, some zenithal highlights might shine through. So the first thing we need to do is base coat with a terracotta brown, and we're going to pick up the weapons and the backpacks, etc. with chaos black. For this I'm going to be using Coat d'Arms paints, which are exactly the same as the old Citadel paints from back in the day. Now this Blood Angel in the painting guide has a much browner tone than the second editions, which had a very bright red, and now the more modern ones have a more blood red kind of look. So today what we're looking for is that more kind of brownish red. So now I'm going to give those black areas a quick dry brush. Now the book tells you to use bolt gun metal, but I don't have bolt gun metal, so a mix of chaos black and mithril silver will suffice. Over the base coat of the terracotta, I'm now going to use a mix of blood red with a tad of the terracotta mixed in. Now we're already starting to build up some very subtle highlights. Now you might want to do this coat a couple of times because that terracotta is very brown. Now something that wasn't mentioned in a lot of these very basic painting guides at the time was the use of washes and inks. I mean, I can remember the first time I used an ink or a wash. It was an orc flesh wash, and it just blew my mind. I can still remember the second edition orc I was painting at the time. I mean, it really does make a huge difference. Here I'm going to use a Coat d'Arms Super Wash Light Brown. Now I'm just going to put this all over the mini except for the black areas. Now I tried the red wash, the super red wash by Coat d'Arms, but it seemed a little bit too pink for me, not really red, not the colour we're going for. So that's why I've opted for the Super Wash Light Brown instead. Now I think you'll agree, just putting that wash on makes a huge amount of difference. So perhaps it's not in the painting guide, but I don't see the problem with adding it. You can also see next to it is an RT-01 base coated in the second edition style. So he's much brighter. Even though I've put a red wash on him, he's still much more vibrant than this terracotta guide. So perhaps second edition painting guide, maybe that's something we'll look at in the future. Let me know in the comments below. Now we can start the real highlighting. So this is going to be now a mixture of blood red, terracotta, sun yellow, and as we get brighter and brighter I'm going to be adding in some skull white as well. Now I'm not a big fan of the modern GW super highlighted, very thick, very bright highlights. I'm not a big fan of those. For me it just looks a bit too cartoony. I prefer highlights to be a little bit more subtle, not so in your face. Now so we just want to keep building up these highlights. If they look a bit too thick or if they look a bit too bright, just go over it again, or you could even use a bit of water or maybe a little bit of the base colour and just blend it in over the model, over the highlight. Nobody will notice. Now, I think you'll agree, we're getting somewhere now. Next, we want to just use our mithril silver, dry brush any of those pipes, the backpack, the gun, etc, just bring out some of those details. And also those shoulder studs. Now the guide suggests that you do all the fine details now, but for me it's not quite there yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a tiny bit of this black wash. Now using the super black wash, I'm just going to pick out those areas that I think are going to be in dark shadow, or perhaps that border another colour. So things like the wrists, the chest pipes, the backpack, and also those shoulder studs as well. Just going to go over those a little bit, just make them pop a little bit more. Again, I know this step isn't in the guide, but I think you'll agree with the end result, that does make a huge difference. Now it's time to add some of that fine details, so we're going to go with green eyes. Now red and green are complementary colours, so we're going to pick the green because it's going to make the red look more vibrant. It's going to trick your brain into thinking that. The Blood Angels chapter symbol, I'm going to paint on, just free draw it. But the writing, I'm going to cheat. I'm actually going to use a draftsman's pen, and I'm going to write a little blood or something like that on the side, because all Road Trader Marines need something cheesy written on them. For the base, just going to use some PVA glue, go old school, and just put a little bit of flock on there, and maybe one of these little grass tufts. Again, we use the green grass tuft because the green and the red, again, they're complementary colours. I'm going to paint the rim of the base black. Why am I choosing black and not brown like it is in the book? To be honest, it's my model. I just think it looks better. Well, that's it, brothers. Took me about 2 hours in total, but that is including letting the washes dry, spraying them, mucking about with the camera. Now, am I a pro painter? Certainly not, but I think this is respectable and it would look okay on the battlefield. The number one, did we complete our goal of recreating that authentic Road Trader look? Well, I think we did. I'm happy with this result. What do you think? Final thoughts on painting. We're all at different stages in our painting journey. Now, I'm happy with what I've done here, and that's all that matters. I'm not painting for anyone else, I'm painting for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this little journey back in time. Why not hit subscribe and join the chapter? We talk about 2nd edition, lore, Road Trader lore, painting guides, the lot, and even some of the new stuff. Hope to see you there. May the Emperor protect you in these times of Nurgle's blights.